starts getting cranky. And then after she gets cranky, then she just will fall asleep.
How things change when you get older.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I love it.
But you know, people say she looks exactly like me as a baby.
does. She does.
And mom said she sleeps just like you, because what would happen with me is I would go to sleep and I would get, it's easy for me to do 12 hours a day. And so the mom told mom, she's like, she's not gonna wake up when I transfer into her in the car seat. Still out with the light. She's like, I'm getting mine.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good morning, Your Honor. May I approach?
Oh, no, just a minute. I need to set up. Just one second.
Really happy to go through day.
Miss Brennan, can you get the?
Yes.
So our victim was delighted yesterday. when he got here.
Who did all that scribbling?
Yeah. Beautiful day.
Oh, that's a lot of scribbling.
Oh, thank you.
They're released you. Yeah.
Can you call Lupe, because I don't have any other files there? These files.
Well,
I don't have any of them.
No.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm just waiting for the files to be brought and then we will start.
Mike, do you have a witness list or no? Michelle has.
Michelle,
Okay, I'll be.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Unfortunately, it's one of our things.
No, that's okay.
It's like a. Usually it's like a Tuesday through second year.
Yeah.
No, it's-
What was she looking for?
187.
Oh,
And she.
All right.
she told me-
Richard Thomas. All right, and Mr. Thomas, come on up. Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Happy, I believe this is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday,
Yes.
Judge.
All right, so we completed jury selection on this jury trial, Mr. Esparza. So your case is going to be reset for a jury trial. But your plea deadline date did expire. And so if you decide to enter a plea, it'll have to be open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so if you'll just wait for Ms. Ferguson will give you a reset date for trial. And if you all can confer on that, so we can make sure that everyone will be ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
So she should be here shortly. Matthew Burke. All right, Mr. Burke, we're just waiting for your attorney to let us know when she is going to be available. So until we know when she's going to be available, you're going to have to come in. You understand?
Is that going to be just every day until?
So you may want to call her.
Okay. She did tell me yesterday that she had a Zoom court this morning at 8:30. And then that she would try to be in after that.
Okay.
Can I just wait?
Oh, just
No?
wait here then for her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. John Espinoza, who's the attorney for John Espinoza?
Judith,
All right, oh, just have a seat. We're waiting for your attorney. And Caroline, can you see where attorney one that is?
she'll come back.
See, that's why I was.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. It was the original burglary application, which,
It's great.
Miss Caroline,
You
she
want
has
to
a
do
seat.
it?
I'm sorry. All right, thank you. I'm gonna call her to turn off my-
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just heard from
Yes,
I think that's a
she says that she's not be able to come in, that other people in her family are sick.
all right, so we'll see you tomorrow. All right,
Yeah.
just, you're gonna get a reset form.
Oh, yes.
Sure,
Oh, I wait.
yes, we'll just give you a reset form for tomorrow. Could you give me a reset form if you have one there?
Yeah, you know, it's strange. to me.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I was able to find out. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, for the trial date for Mr. Riley. Oh,
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Okay. That's just the countdown to your trip, huh?
Yes, it is.
The final.
Yes, I'm excited.
Excited for you. I'm jealous. I get, we figured out, we've got Angelini 3 weeks in a row with the visiting schedule and then impact.
Yeah.
So Michael and I may not be here when you get back.
Well, and I'm bringing things back for my trip.
I mean, I'm gonna be alive still. I just might not be here.
Oh, you can put us on mute. But I'm on mute too. Wait, I actually.
This is the one where I had that Perry Mason-like cross-examination of the complaining witness that did absolutely no good at all.
There you are. You can
Thank
take it
you.
back to the clerk so they can put it in the system.
I'm sorry, what?
If you can take it back to the clerk so they can put it in the system.
You've broken my heart. Thank you. I
All right.
will at the same time submit my motion to withdraw. Would you like to address that? And I'll file it. when we
Sure,
get
if you
back to
follow,
it.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, because I will.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
I've got it with me just in case.
Okay.
Hey, how are you doing? Delighted to be here.
All right, are the parties ready on Jesse Esparza?
We are, Your Honor.
How if you got approach?
Judge,
Brenda,
we
are you-
filed a motion to amend the indictment.
Yes, I have it.
Okay.
Brenda, are you ready?
Ready.
Court is calling 2021 CR 10254, State of Texas versus Jesse Esparza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Michelle Hayden for the state.
for the defense?
George Schaefer for defendant Jesse Esparza.
And are you Mr. Esparza?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Esparza, you were scheduled for jury trial. The jury has been selected. It's the court's understanding that now you wish to enter a plea. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, I'm showing you what's entitled discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
The court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Esparza, I'm going to show you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
That's the original.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, we have a motion to amend the indictment, adding count 2, which is the burglary of a habitation, second degree offense. And we'd also wish to waive the habitual allegations.
All right, so first things first. Defense, do you have any objection to the waiver of the habitual offender enhancement allegation?
No, we do not, Your Honor. And we also have no objection to the state's effort to amend the indictment and add count 2 as stated by the prosecutors.
All right, and the court will note for the record, both sides are aware that this case was re-indicted. And the first time it was indicted, there was a burglary of the habitation count. Is that correct, State?
There was, Your Honor, that count was a first degree felony because Berg have intent to commit a felony. So we're actually proceeding on a lesser burglary count.
But now I'm trying to,
Okay,
yes.
sorry.
So
Yes,
my question is, this case was originally indicted as a burglary of a habitation. Is that correct, State?
yes, Your Honor.
Is that
Yes,
correct,
Your
defense? And then the case was re-indicted to include the sexual assault count and not present the burglary of a habitation case. Is that correct, State?
Yes, Your Honor.
And
Yes,
that's
Your
correct, defense. And the reason why I'm putting that on the record, because I want the record to be clear that previously there was a burglary of a habitation count,
Yes,
so
Your
that no one is caught unawares.
Yes, Your Honor, and to that end, I've asked the court's clerk and the state has indicated a given number of days, which we'll put into the record at the time of sentencing.
All right. And so, Mr. Esparza, you're aware that the state has now sought to amend the indictment to include count 2 of burglary of a habitation. You're aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you had a chance to discuss that count with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that that is a substantive change to the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that your attorney then, if the court were to grant this amendment, your attorney would have at least 10 days to prepare for trial
Yes,
on
ma'am.
that count?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you waiving your attorney's right to have 10 days to prepare for trial on count 2?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Schaefer, do you have any objections?
No, Judge, I was going to say I joined that waiver, and I would also ask the court to allow us to proceed immediately.
Okay. And Mr. Schaefer, do you have any objection to the state's amendment of count 2? Well, amendment to the indictment, adding count 2 burglary of a habitation?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Esparza, most importantly, do you have any objection to the state's amendment, adding count 2 burglary of a habitation?
Oh, okay. You say adding is taking away the old one and now it's,
No, no, no. They
They're
are
just adding.
adding count 2.
okay.
Do you want to speak with your attorney about it?
All that means is that we're only proceeding on count 2. Remember, the plea agreement says we're only proceeding on the burglary.
Okay.
The other case
It's gone.
is gone.
Okay, yes, I understand.
So, Mr. Esparza, do you have any objections to the court granting the state's amendment to the indictment, amending it to include count 2 burglary of a habitation?
No,
All right. So then without objection from the defense attorney or from Mr. Esparza, the court will grant the state's motion to amend the indictment to include count 2 burglary of a habitation. If you have
No,
questions for your attorney,
like,
you can ask them.
it includes, like the include is, it confuses me because I feel like it includes it in,
Well, this is what's happening, Mr. Esparza. The state has this indictment, which is the indictment.
okay,
To this indictment, my understanding, and I haven't gone over the plea agreement yet, is the state wants to add this count. So this indictment plus this count 2. And then it's the court's understanding, according to your plea bargaining agreement, they're going to waive what becomes count 1. Is that correct?
so
That is correct, Your Honor.
this indictment is no more.
No, no, this
No.
indictment is still here.
See, I don't want that.
They're adding the burglary of a habitation. Do you want to speak with your client for a
Yeah,
moment? Yeah, I'll let you
Okay,
speak with him for a
but
moment.
okay, but I don't understand is.
No, no,
how-
no, let's do this. I'm gonna have you step back so you can
Okay.
speak to your attorney. And Mr. Schaefer, do you need the amendment and the indictment too?
It wouldn't hurt for me to show that to him.
All right, thank you. Yes, Mr.
A motion to withdraw.
Started at the beginning, right? We started the trial on this indictment.
And then I will go in the back and file the notice of appeal.
Okay.
It's done is they're adding count 2 to the indictment. In other words, right here.
Thank you.
it
What I'm
was-
asking you, is this indictment valid or I'm gonna have to.
No,
I don't want to.
it's not going to. ¿Por qué no me crees?
Dice sexual assault.
No, quiet. When we go to court, if the court approves the agreement, the only thing we will do is this case gets dropped and waived. Hear this? Okay.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes. Thank you. All right, we're back on the record. Mr. Esparza, did you have a chance to review both the indictment and the state's motion to amend indictment with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you fully understand everything?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so just so the record can be clear, with regards to the state's motion to amend indictment, do you understand that that's a substantive change to the indictment? Do you understand that?
In other words, they've expanded the original indictment now to include the second part.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So knowing that, do you have any objection to the state's amending the indictment to include count 2?
No, ma'am.
All right. And you understand that because there's an amendment of count 2, that your attorney would have 10 days to prepare for trial. Did you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you waiving your attorney's right to have 10 days to prepare for trial on count 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, are you ready to proceed and are you waiving your right for 10 days to prepare for trial?
We waive any additional time, Your Honor, and we are ready to proceed.
And Mr. Schaefer, do you believe your client understands that count 2 is a substantive addition to the indictment?
He does, Your Honor.
And do you believe he's knowingly and voluntarily not objecting to the state's motion to amend indictment?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, then if there being no objection from the defense counsel or from the defendant, the court will grant the state's motion to amend indictment. And count 2 states that it is a burglary of habitation, and I'm just reading it into the record. Count 2 is a burglary of habitation, and it states on or about the 8th day of September 2019, Jesse Esparza Jr. did intentionally and knowingly enter a habitation with intent to commit an assault without the effective consent of Yvette Garcia, the owner. All right, next, Mr. Esparza, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admissions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, did you understand that the state is proceeding on count 2 of the indictment? Count 2 is a burglary of a habitation with intent to commit assault. That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call on your right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Esparza, for the record, there was a jury that was selected in your case, and they were prepared to hear this trial. They had not been sworn in yet. They were going to be sworn in today. So knowing that, do you wish to go forward with this plea or continue with your jury trial?
Go forward.
All right.
Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses for this offense?
He has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
He is, Your Honor.
Mr. Esparza, has anyone threatened, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on count 2 of the indictment. And I should say count 2 of the amended indictment. The punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the prison. There are no applications, credit for time served, and no contact with Yvette Garcia. Mr. Esparza, the court always gives credit for time, any time that's been served. That's the law. You understand?
Judge, if I might, for the record, that would be on both the original burglary count and on the new indictment.
Yes.
And we have that number of days, which we'll give to the court.
Yes, and if you could read that into the record, and also the clerk is here, so they'll make sure it's placed in the record. All right, did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement, Mr. Esparza?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the offense as charged in count 2. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
And state, so that the record can be clear because it was amended. In the indictment, the other count will be listed as count 1, is that correct?
I have to check, but I believe it may just be, yeah, it doesn't have count 1 written on it, but
All
we
right,
added count 2, but the other count is count 1.
and state you're waiving count 1, correct?
We are.
And there's no objection, I'm assuming, to the waiver of count 1?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Esparza, I just want the record to be clear, so there are no issues, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
So in the original indictment, the first paragraph will then be listed as count 1. And the amendment is, of course, count 2. And the state is waiving the habitual offender enhancement allegation and waiving count 1. Is that correct, state?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And I'm assuming there's no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so count 1 is waived without objection, and the enhancement allegation is waived without objection, and the defendant has entered a plea of no contest. State, do you have any evidence to support the defendant's plea?
State offers State's Exhibit 1 and its attachments into evidence.
We have no objections, Your Honor.
Okay.
The state has fully complied with the Morton Act and provided all discovery relevant to this case.
All right, Mr. Esparza, I'm going to show you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just 1 second. Mr. Schaefer.
I apologize, Your
No
Honor.
problem. Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial? A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call on, the right to remain silent.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. The court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
It's not a 3G.
All right, after reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding as sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, I would like to state, and the clerk can verify this, the defendant has 544 days of credit so far on this case, which we would ask the court to award him credit for. And I know the court will.
Anything you wish to say, Mr. Esparza?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor.
All right, the court will sentence you to 2 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. There's to be no contact with Yvette Garcia. Is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Esparza, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can go off the record. Mr. Esparza, you're gonna have to start changing your life. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if, from reading the police report, I don't know if you had taken something or what was going on in your life. But what I do know is if there's a drug or alcohol problem with you, there are programs at the prison. There are also programs when you are released. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
All right, so you need to start working on yourself. So while you're at the prison, internalize what got you here and do things differently, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you.
Hey.
You're welcome. Okay. Oh, I'll go back there.
You just go back there?
Yeah.
I'll call her and let her know.
Right, can you- us? All right. Judith, what is happening with your client? Judith Wimmer? Well, what's happening with your client?
Oh, I can tell you, I'm just staying tonight. I'm just waiting for that to work out.
Okay,
We'll continue to confirm.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we can go on mute. How's your wife doing?
A lot better, way better than anticipated. When she first got out of the rehab, learned to walk again, could walk about 20 steps with assistance. Now she's walking 2 laps a night around the cul-de-sac. Her mobility is back. She's getting away from the walker. So
Oh, that's good. Okay, pretty soon she's gonna be out walking you.
I still do about a mile walk every evening, but I haven't been doing it because I'm helping her with her walk in the evening.
And it's too hot.
Oh, he doesn't bother me.
But you know what they said? They put out a notice saying, telling people to stay from outside, I guess, because it's like so hot. But I think the temperature is dropping down now, so we shall see.
Not consider the fact I'm half Mexican. It protects me.
Okay, all right.
It's cold weather I can't stand.
Okay.
Don't like
Yeah.
it at all.
See, I prefer cold.
And Judge, you look stunning today.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a good one.
I see your dresses are rock and roll hot pink.
Yes.
It's just good looking.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
That's all they need. Because he just changed it. And so. And that's how I kind of. When is this going to happen? The days would go on, it's not
Okay, and we're on mute. See, this is the problem that I have. All right, the court is calling 2020 CR 6562, State of Texas versus John Martin Espinoza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Michelle Hayden for the state.
for the defense?
Judith Wimmer.
And are you Mr. Espinoza? Defense, I'm showing you what's entitled acknowledgement of discovery. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review it with your client?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Espinoza, I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor. We're proceeding on the lesser included offense of assault bodily injury.
Any objection?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Espinoza, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand you're charged with the offense of assault bodily injury, or at least that's the lesser included offense that the state is proceeding on. The range of punishment for that offense is up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, ma'am, he has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry,
Espinoza.
Mr. Espinoza, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain agreement, did you review that agreement with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of assault bodily injury as a Class A misdemeanor. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at 285 days in the Bexar County Jail. There's a $0 fine. State is taking into consideration 2020 CR 6564. There's to be no contact with Monica Vasquez and Guadalupe Valderas. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense is at the plea bargain agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
State is at the plea bargain agreement.
Yes, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, ma'am.
Then to the offense of assault bodily injury, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
State offers State's Exhibit 1 and its attachments into evidence.
No objection.
Mr. Espinoza, I'm showing you what's entitled wavering consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, we would just ask that the court follow the plea bargain.
All right. State, is the complainant aware of this agreement?
One of them is, Your Honor, or at least we've reached out to let them know.
Court then is finding you guilty of assault, bodily injury, sentencing you to 285 days in the Bexar County Jail, taking in consideration 2020 CR 6564. There's to be no contact with Monica Vasquez and Guadalupe Valderas, and giving you credit for any time served. Is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
No,
Can I have
ma'am.
that dismissal?
All right, Mr. Espinoza, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing it? And I think we need the original copy, the white one. On the dismissal. Oh, you have it.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, thanks. I have it. All right, did you review that document, trial court certification? Oh, I have that one.
Okay.
Yes. Did you review that document entitled trial court certification with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Espinoza, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Mr. Espinoza, it appears to me that you're not ready for a relationship. I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody else. Get an orchid. When you get that orchid from Walmart or wherever you may get it from, it usually is about, the most I've seen them, maybe it's been $13, maybe $12. That orchid, when you get it, it's in full bloom. Once those blooms fall off and you're able to get that same orchid to rebloom, then you may be ready for a relationship. And I say that because orchids take a lot of patience. Relationships take a lot of patience. You just can't like throw a relationship out the window or be mean in a relationship if you love it, if you care for it. So until that orchid blooms, you're not ready for a relationship. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
May we be excused?
Yes, your excuse.
Thank you.
All right, and everyone, we'll be back at 9. Ms. Ferguson sent the docket for 11 because we're supposed to be in jury trial, but we will see if we can get people here at 9 so that we won't have to be back in the afternoon.
I know that you'd like to be in trial, but